I like to say that if you one day, God forbid, find out your partner is cheating on you and you forgive them, you're a fool. If your partner then cheats on you a second time, you're an even bigger fool. But if your partner cheats on you a third time, well, you're a Battlefield fan. My first Battlefield game was Battlefield 1 and it changed my life. I became obsessed with World War I, consuming iconic media like All Quiet on the Western Front and Storm of Steel. Well, the novels, not the adaptations. I'm not a fan of the Netflix one. And countless primary sources. I became so obsessed with it that I was genuinely considering swapping my major in college at the time to history. Battlefield 1 remains my most played Battlefield and will probably remain so. My reaction to a new Battlefield game has sadly become less, ooh, wow, a new Battlefield game too. Well, if it fails, I can always go back to Battlefield 1. That more or less briefly summarizes my history with the franchise. Now, let me tell you the source of my bitterness, my quote-unquote trauma that led to me making this video. Battlefield 5. I'm sure those watching can understand how I feel or would echo my opinions that it was a rather interesting game, so to speak. However, I'm not here to rip on Battlefield 5 if you can believe that. On the contrary, I'm going to tell you how much I loved it. Now, this video won't be about glazing Battlefield 5 as some underrated masterpiece or convincing you that it was mistreated. You know, there's a really good meme on Reddit about the Battlefield cycle that each time a new game comes out, the previous one is suddenly looked back on fondly. No, I'm here to tell you mostly that, my experience with it. I saw the game from launch all the way to when support was cut. I played the beta on PS4 and have played the beta for every Battlefield game since, as you'll see. This was the first time I was seeing a Battlefield game through its entire lifespan. Picture me. You're me back in 2019. The Pacific update just dropped. It's great. The sandbox is the best and most balanced Battlefield game has ever had, and more importantly, it's fun. And there's stuff to look forward to on the horizon, like the Soviet stuff that they're no doubt going to add. Battlefield 5, while messy, was still looking good. Until EA announces that it's basically pulling the plug on Battlefield 5 and, stopping any updates. That's it. No Soviets, no Stalingrad, no D-Day, no Battle of the Bulge updates, nothing. The game, which was advertised as live service, and if memory serves, the first Battlefield to be advertised in such a way, was now effectively dead. I mean, you can still play it, but who knows how long that'll last, but still. And while the Battlefield community was basically cheering the death of Battlefield 5 and proudly declaring their support to EA, congratulating it, saying it was the right choice, and I know this because I was there, Gandalf. I was there. I remember all that. While everyone was cheering and getting ready for the next Battlefield game, which would surely deliver, I was bitter. I was damn bitter. In the script, I made sure to put the word damn in italics. I was like, this next Battlefield game better be good if we're going to be killing Battlefield 5 for it. 2042 then got its first trailer, and, well, I remember everyone was hyped for it, hyping how back Battlefield was, and, well, to be honest, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited. I mean, if I had a nickel for each time I saw a meme featuring that one clip from the trailer, I'd probably have, like $2. Of course, yeah, I was one of them, as I just said. This trailer was objectively a step up from the reveal trailer for Battlefield 5. It definitely was a step in the right direction. I'm not going to revise my own history here. Now, Battlefield 2042 is hopefully still fresh enough in everyone's heads that I don't need to reminisce on how poorly received it was at launch. And I remember playing the beta, and I remember experiencing how poorly optimized it was and how atrocious the launch was. We all remember no scoreboard, the Call of Duty mechanics, no classes. There's a myriad of pretentious video essay YouTubers that can regurgitate that opinion to you, so I won't elaborate on it. My issue with 2042 isn't that it sucked. I mean, it did. My issue is that we as a community allowed DICE and EA to get away with the same damn thing that we let them do so with Battlefield 5. They cut support again. I felt lied to a second time. I was willing to stick with 2042 like I was with Battlefield 5, because this time I figured, there's no way they're gonna try that a second time. There's no way they're gonna cut development on a live service game a second time. But they did. As a result, I pre-disavowed Battlefield 6 before it had even been announced publicly. So, what was the whole point of this rant? Well, primarily to show you all my current mood and prejudices towards Battlefield, and also to establish my history with the franchise. And that, well, we were fooled 2 times. There was no way in hell I would allow a single person on the internet or in person to get excited for another Battlefield game ever again. I made it my personal mission to spam no pre-orders on any social media platform. Disavow any friends. Okay, not really. Disavow any friends who even showed interest in the new Battlefield. I feel like Battlefield fans would get the game they deserve. That I was going to scrutinize Battlefield 6 every single step of the way, and that I would encourage everyone to do the same. So, at long last, what do I think of Battlefield 6 based on the open beta I played?
It's pretty good. Thank you for watching.
Okay, no, let's obviously elaborate on that. First off, let me just say that there is nothing wrong with being excited about this game, despite everything I said earlier. If you are personally excited for Battlefield 6 because of this beta, all power to you. Please don't let a 0 subscriber nobody tell you how to feel. The first and strongest thing that I have to whine about is the anti-cheat. As a PC gamer, I'm pretty well adjusted to the reality that all anti-cheats in every game nowadays is going to be a rootkit, which means it has access to basically your core computer systems and your BIOS and all that other stuff. Valorant's Vanguard, easy anti-cheat, yeah, those are all rootkits that a lot of games have nowadays. And well, my opinion on all anti-cheats is that it punishes 99% of players for 1.1% of players who actually cheat, who are still going to find some way to circumvent each and every anti-cheat, sometimes within days of a game's launch. And yet, in my 13 years of PC gaming, I can't think of a single time that I had to enter my motherboard's BIOS in order to be able to launch a game. Not to make it run well, not to fix my specs, no, just so it could launch. That is my issue with Battlefield 6. It has this weird, brand new anti-cheat that requires secure boot to be enabled, which is going to have most people going into their BIOS for the first time in their pre-built or their gaming laptops, or even just asking, what the heck's a secure boot? I didn't even know what a secure boot was, and I've been gaming on PC since 2012. I've built at least 3 separate gaming PCs. I'm not a pre-built or a laptop guy. I know computers, and yet I didn't know about secure boot. And of course, the main reason I despise intrusive anti-cheats is, well, because plain and simple, they just never work. You can go on YouTube right now and see the drama regarding one person who got caught cheating in the game. And this is during the beta. The game isn't even out yet, and the anti-cheat has effectively been quote-unquote solved by cheaters. We gave DICE and EA access to a friggin' BIOS. The computer equivalent of letting someone reach into your pants and grab your balls as a requirement for talking to them. Can you imagine going to a store to buy something, but as soon as you enter, you have to let a guy manhandle your cojones the whole time, or you can't even enter the store? I'm being a little melodramatic, but this is on top of the inherent risks these types of anti-cheats have. What if an exploit is discovered? What if it's breached? A hacker could have access to the entire systems of people who play the game. There's a lot of trust consumers have to put in game developers when they give them, regardless of reluctance, such precious access to their computers. I wouldn't even trust companies I actually like, such as Valve, with kernel level access to my PC. So why the hell should I trust DICE and EA, two companies that I have just established I no longer trust, and for damn good reason, with my computer? The good news is that while I think it's the biggest complaint I have regarding the game right now, that it's a very, very sketchy thing to demand of players in order to play the game, I'm happy to say that it's right now my only real complaint. Like my only real no, hell no. At this point, I probably had like 10 things I didn't like about Battlefield 2042 from the beta alone, so it's a step up for sure. Alright, so at long last, what do I think of the game itself? Well, I like that it feels more like Battlefield 3. I know I said earlier my first Battlefield was Battlefield 1, but okay, I lied. That was the first one I owned. I remember playing Battlefield 3 at friends' houses way back in the days of the Xbox 360, and although I never got to own it, because at that point all my FPS energy was funneled into Halo, particularly Halo Reach, its class-based system feels best represented in Battlefield 6. We're back to engineer instead of a medic, and support filling in for both the ammo and healing provider. In my opinion, this feels like it makes support the most useful class in the game right now, and others have felt the same way. But the beta only showed us one combat specialization per class, and I remember feeling bummed out that in neither weekend we got to see any other specializations added. I wonder why they don't give the revive and healing stuff to, say, Assault like in Battlefield 4. Or heck, just have 5 classes instead of 4, split medic and support into 2 roles. But that might be too drastic and a big change for Battlefield, maybe. It's like a core rule that there's only 4 classes, and I don't blame this game for playing it safe and going back to the roots. Now, as a recon main through and through, in that regard, I have to say...
We're eating good, recon bros.
While everyone complained about Liberation Peak, I was thriving. If any other maps are going to be as expansive and wide open as Lib Peak, I'm going to get hooked to playing recon again like I did in Battlefield 5 and 1. Speaking of Battlefield 5, something interesting does come back from it, and that's the movement. The movement in Battlefield 6 is based on Battlefield 5's, with the Goblin crouch run, and even the dodge roll you can do if you press crouch right as you land from a great height, in order to absorb some fall damage. I'm actually very, very happy that something from Battlefield 5 was brought back. 2042's movement felt like a backwards attempt to cheaply copy Call of Duty, and I'm just happy I can Goblin run again.
By the way, can we get base building back, guys? That was feature was pretty amazing. Please.
The revive mechanic from Battlefield 5 was also brought over, but a brand new feature is that you can actually drag your squad mates out while you revive them. This is such a small change, yet it's absolutely groundbreaking. I feel like it's going to get annoying to deal with and make choke point firefights last far longer than ever, but I didn't get to encounter situations like that, which I would call frustrating because of the dragging mechanic. It's just something I suspect might become annoying at launch. Destruction is back and as chaotic as ever. It's definitely a step up, and honestly almost mesmerizing to watch the entire face of a building just collapse like a waterfall of cement and debris. It's not even that resource intensive. I'm surprised by how well optimized the beta is, but I also do have a pretty beefy PC, so your mileage may vary. To begin wrapping things up, I have found myself having a lot of fun playing Battlefield 6 during the beta. The most fun I've had playing a Battlefield in ages, to be honest. Nothing besides the anti-cheat has rubbed me the wrong way or given me a hunch that something bad's on the way. But I'm still not pre-ordering, and I think you're genuinely an idiot if you do that. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that we continue to scrutinize and demand basic decency from DICE and EA. I am still skeptical towards Battlefield 6, and I recommend everyone be the same. I hope in this video I was able to convince you why we need to approach this upcoming game with caution and with a willingness to point out EA bullshit whenever and wherever we see it. At the end of the day, I think Battlefield 6 has immense potential, and we need to hold DICE and EA accountable if they don't expand on it or do something that'll cost them our trust for what would be the 3rd time in a row. The 3rd time in a row, people. Thank you so much for watching. I'm a very new channel, eager to make gaming content, and this is the first type of video project I ever work on. I do all the editing, writing, and voice work myself, and never ever ever do I ever consult AI or other generative software at any point during the making of these videos. I'm still very new to all this, but I learned a lot from making this video already. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and a comment. It seriously helps boost my channel within the holy algorithm of YouTube and can help me get my foot in the door. You can comment anything. Tell me the capital of Croatia and that it's actually Berlin or Moscow or something. I read every comment. A subscription would also make my day, and you can always change your mind and unsub later if I'm not your cup of tea. But thank you for your consideration, and I hope you all have an excellent day. Oh, and one more thing. Why the fuck is Rush 12 versus 12? Who the fuck decided that Rush should be fought with less than 24 players on each team? This game is fucking ruined!